Hello everyone, welcome to Amphlett Reviews, back with another Japanese deep dive, talking about Seijun Suzuki's 1967 Branded to Kill that I just recently have watched on the Arrow Video Store. If you're curious about watching this, it's also available for free on Tubi. If you have a PlayStation 4, they're absolutely free. Sign up and you can watch the film in HD absolutely for free, or you can sign up to the Arrow Video Store, which they have it on their part of their service as well, because they did do a release a little while ago. Also, the film is available on Criterion, also in Blu-ray and a 4K edition. However, the transfers of them are quite different compared to the Arrow version, so do a little bit of research, see which one you want to kind of find. But I do know the Arrow version Blu-ray is out of print. However, it is still relatively easy to find. It just costs a little bit more than you would expect. Probably the same level of cost of the Criterion version, which is about 30 quid. So kind of, pick and choose which version you're after. Now, I wanted to dive a bit more into some Japanese films. I recently did pick up, as you can see here, Tokyo Drifter from Flop for £10.80, part of the Criterion sale. And it's one that I've been on my list for quite some time to check out. And it's from the same director. And also there's a Radiance release called Tattoo Life, which I've also been quite curious, but a little bit on the fence. I'm trying to explore more Japanese directors, as mentioned. I've come across some really unique, really brilliant films from these kind of legendary directors, influential directors that had big impact on a lot of Western cinema. And you can see the influence, you can see the style, you can see the characters and the storylines they kind of told, which, seriously impressive for kind of mid-60s movies that are delivering something quite unique and quite special compared to the more slog movies I'm getting in more modern day cinema. So it's really exciting. It's really a fantastic kind of deep dive. Not all of them are going to be great. Some are going to be kind of one-offs. Some are going to be like absolute masterpieces, and some are just going to appreciate for what they are and probably never revisit them. This kind of falls into all those kind of categories in terms of Branded to Kill. As mentioned, I did watch this on the Arrow Video Store. It is available officially on their player, or if you've got Amazon Prime, it's available as an add-on. Do a 7-day free trial. And I was a bit on the fence before picking this one up, and I'm glad I did. I would say this could potentially be a one-off. However, I might change my mind as I dive more into his films as I go along. And it's significant with this film, Branded to Kill and Tattoo Life. These are his last 3 major picture films, I would say, during that time frame before his legendary firing after doing Branded to Kill, which he basically got fired and blacklisted for 10 years after making a very controversial, very unexpected noir kind of thriller, which at the time was very kind of different and very out there. And after watching it, I can see why. It's quite an unusual film, to say the least. It's got a very kind of rapid fire terms of editing and story. It's very unconventional. It's kind of getting through a lot of material very quickly, and not to like a detriment to the film, but just a very unique kind of style. It's kind of very fast, and it's kind of, it's storytelling. It's very rapid, kind of almost like jumping in time more than you would expect. It doesn't kind of sugarcoat anything. It doesn't hold your hand or tell you exactly what's happening, apart from specific moments where it actually is telling you what's going on or what is happening, what is the story. There's definitely a story here in terms of the our main protagonist character, which is basically the number 3 hitman in Japan. He has been assigned to take out various targets, and he executes them in various different ways, as we see in montages, and especially towards the opening sequence where it gets very messy and very violent, and going from guns to kind of knives to people being on sudden fire. There's even a montage sequence where he kills someone for a signpost. There's one really hilarious one, kind of a dark comedy-ish, where he kind of kills a load of people in a room, jumps out of a window and lands on a balloon. It's just, okay. The tone of the film is so bizarre and so wacky, and it's so interesting. It doesn't really stick on one particular thing. It's a noir film, it's a dark comedy, it's a very bleak, dark movie about trying to be the number one hitman. I can definitely see some influence from David Fincher's kind of The Killer, with Michael Fassbender, that released on Netflix. If you've seen that film, it's kind of got the same kind of tone. I wouldn't be surprised if that film took a lot of influence from this one. I can definitely see it. And through this kind of rapid journey that you go along with this character, it's so interesting, it's so unique in terms of its cinematography, in terms of the information that it wants to provide you, the characters it kind of interacts with. It's almost dreamlike in a weird way. And it's so fascinating to watch. It's so interesting. It has a lot of explicit kind of nudity in it, which is more than I expected for a 60s film. It has a very kind of odd relationship with his wife, which is a bit of a swinger and a bit of a they refer to themselves as beast because they're just basically humping each other for the entire movie, and he wants to breathe in rice, you know, hot, warm rice. It seems to be his fetish. I don't know what's going on there. But his character is very professional. He's very, very kind of on the ball in terms of his kind of contract kills. He gets offered a outside deal, basically I think 1 million yen, to basically take out this contractor. He's got 3 seconds to make this kill, and you know that's the deal essentially. This goes wrong. He ends up killing someone innocent bystander, and basically he's kind of outed and out of the organization, and people are basically trying to take out him because he's obviously number 3 status, and everyone else wants a piece of him essentially, and he has to go through all the other ranks from kind of, you know, everything before 3 up until 1, which is the legendary Phantom Killer. That is number 1 in Japan, which he eventually just come across towards the 3rd act of the film. He kind of falls in love with another woman, the woman that gives him basically the contract. There's a lot of collateral damage in this film, going from this kind of classy, kind of slick kind of look to someone who's just completely just gone bonkers essentially, and just doesn't know who to trust, doesn't know who's on his side, who's not. And you get some very odd, very kind of unique kind of sequences because of that. The bombastic nature of that kind of rapid fire editing and the story and the characters, where they go, is so intriguing to watch and so interesting. You can't help but just kind of get sucked into the film. It does lose a little bit of steam towards the end, I would say, where it's kind of like it's starting to wrap up and it's kind of having a lot of excess in terms of its material. But I think the ending and the point of the film is very clear by the end, and I think it's a very unique experience. Whether it's something that is something worthy of a second viewing, whether it's something worth owning, whether it's a masterpiece, I'm not too sure, if I'm being honest. I think because I've seen so many diluted versions of the same story, I definitely think it's a ground zero point. I definitely think it's such a ballsy movie, where obviously for that time I can imagine it being very controversial in terms of not just the violence, but also the, you know, the nudity and just unconventional storytelling. It's very visual striking. It's very unconventional in how it wants to provide information to you, and that can make or break a film essentially right there. And I think there is plenty of material here, and there's plenty going on where you can get an investment, you can get something interesting out of this kind of character journey into kind of madness, essentially. What are your thoughts and opinions on Branded to Kill? Please comment down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on Tokyo Drifter and the director's lineup? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions, guys. Please comment down below. So in time, guys, I'm Amphlett Reviews, signing out.